News 14 Carolina presents Political Connections.
Coming up on Political Connections.
One way to lose a primary is to not take it seriously.
What impact will Libertarian and Tea Party candidates have on this year's elections?
I'm the only candidate in the race who has training and experience in accounting and finance and business and economics. And I think that's what you need when you have $12.5 trillion in debt.
And we'll sit down with the Libertarian candidate for the U.S. Senate seat to get his thoughts. It's all coming up on Political Connections, starting now. Welcome to Political Connections, the show that connects you to the biggest issues and influential people in North Carolina. I'm Tim Boyle. This week, we talk about the impact of Libertarian Party candidates and other candidates on the ballot this year. Nearly 70 candidates are running for the state's 13 congressional seats and U.S. Senate race. My first guest is Dr. Mike Munger. He's chair of the Political Science Department at Duke University. He also ran as a Libertarian candidate for governor in 2008. Earlier, the chance to talk with him about the impact of so many candidates on the ballot. All right, Dr. Munger, as always, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be on the show, Tim.
Let's talk about we got the congressional races and the U.S. Senate race. There's almost 70 candidates in a primary. What does that say to you?
Well, in the spring of even-numbered years, a young man's fancy turns to who's in the primary. And I don't recall having seen a number and diversity of candidates that have signed up like this. There's a number of things that might be causing it. One was the success of President Obama, and that a lot of people were involved in politics that hadn't been involved before. But the other is the Ron Paul Liberty Republican movement and the Tea Parties that have gotten a lot of people that also weren't involved before. So a lot of these they're not professionals, they're not people with experience, maybe they're running for the first time. So for those of us who watch this process, it also may be rather amusing and interesting.
Well, what does it mean for the incumbents? You see Richard Burr, you see McHenry, so they're all facing primary opponents, some of them multiple opponents. What does it mean for them? Do they just try to get by without spending too much money? Or
one way to lose a primary is to not take it seriously. On the other hand, having to contest a primary means that you're spending a lot of time and attention. It's very inconvenient for incumbents generally to have to face an opponent, either in the primary or in the general election. And some of our regulations, like McCain-Feingold, seem to have been trying to make it easier for incumbents. So this is the year of the anti-incumbent.
Is it that, or is it also ideological? We see the Tea Party and GO, other groups like that. Is it a combination of it, or is it just get these people out of here?
Well, I have myself spoken at 5 different Tea Parties, and I think that I'm now convinced any single thing you say about the Tea Parties is just wrong. There's no way to characterize exactly what's going on. So some of what we see is an anti-incumbent fervor, and I think one of the things that political pundits have a hard time getting their mind around is the same people who elected Barack Obama also elected Scott Brown in Massachusetts. So there's no ideological component. A lot of it's just a distrust of organized elites and parties. But then that means that a lot of incumbents are facing primary opponents that they wouldn't have expected to.
Take us inside these Tea Party events. What was it like, and what some people are thinking of these groups on the outside? Is it accurate? What is it like?
Well, I already said that anything I can say will probably be inaccurate, but I can describe the experience. They're painfully earnest. This is not astroturf. These are people who deeply care about trying to make the country better. Now, their ideas about it may not be very well formed, but the big problem that the Tea Party movement generally has is a sense that they're against things. So for the Tea Party movement, or for that matter, the kind of Ron Paul Liberty Republican movement to take off, what's going to be necessary is they find a standard bearer who has an optimistic vision of the future, a sort of Reagan, if you will, not Reagan himself, but someone who says we can achieve something positive, and a set of positions that are positive. These are the things that we are for. Until they find that, as long as they're just against thing, it's sort of an inchoate monster. It's like the villagers are heading up the hill with pitchforks and lanterns, and they're going to burn down the castle. But what are they going to do then?
Is it going to hurt? I guess it depends on how you look at what they're doing, but could it hurt some Republicans and in particular incumbents?
What surprised me when I spoke at several different Tea Parties, the idea of hurting Republicans didn't bother them at all. So this is not a Republican movement. This is an anti-incumbent movement. And part of the reason they feel moved to participate like this is they feel that the Republican Party has forgotten what real conservatism means. And more than a few of them also felt like the Democratic Party had sold out what it meant to be a liberal, in the sense that you're concerned about individual liberties. So it wasn't as ideologically monochrome as I had expected.
Interesting. You ran for governor as a libertarian.
And I lost, Tim.
And you lost.
But
you got the 2%.
I got 2.85%.
Which was a big goal that you succeeded on, and now people like Mike Beitler and that are on the ballot because of it. But a lot of times the Libertarian Party was seen as that alternative, and now we're seeing tea parties and whatnot. Where does that put the Libertarian Party right now?
I wish that the people participating in the Tea Party understood how important ballot access is. Because when I gave the talk at the Tea Party, a lot of people said, well, we would like to run some candidates. That means 2 years ago, they should have been trying to get on the ballot. In North Carolina, it takes basically $250,000 in 2 years to get on the ballot. So there aren't any Tea Party candidates. They're stuck with the existing parties. The Libertarians, because we got that 2%, for the first time, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. We don't have to go around and collect those signatures. We don't have to waste our time and money pestering people in malls. Won't you please sign our petition? That's the curse. Forgive me, that's the blessing. The curse is now we have to run. Now we're running candidates. We have, I think, 5 of the 13 U.S. House races are being contested by a Libertarian. We might even have some contested primaries. So it's a new day for the Libertarian Party, but it's going to take a while from us to shift from outsiders to insiders. We're on the ballot now. Now we have to take advantage.
In 2 years from now, I guess 2.5, 3 years, you need to get, it's the governor's seat that needs to get 2 points.
Or the president.
The governor or the
the
president.
very top of the ticket. It's very difficult law. North Carolina is one of only 3 that has such restrictive ballot access laws, either the president or the governor.
Interesting. Let's talk about the current state of things in North Carolina. The woman that you lost to, Governor Perdue, what do you think about how she's handled this economic turmoil in the state?
Well, I think you'd have to give her a C+ or a B-. She's doing okay. And I'm a tenured professor at Duke, so I wake up many mornings and think, boy, I'm glad it's her and not me. She has a hard job, so let's give her some respect. She also has largely followed through on one of the main things she promised, and that's at least to be somewhat more transparent. So if you talk to people like John Hood or people who tend to pester a Democratic incumbent, that when they make phone calls, their phone calls get answered. If they ask for a document, they get it. There are websites up. There's a lot more transparency compared to the Easley administration. So they are making progress. She also, I think, has made progress on the budget, in the way that we build roads, and some of the way that we explain the way taxes are raised. So she's doing a pretty good job in those respects. I don't think that she has solved the problem that we have, that North Carolina has become a relatively high-tax state, and we've become a relatively high-regulation state. How are we going to attract new businesses to the state? I think that's the part that she's really failed. They have focused, or the Perdue administration has focused on trying to pay taxpayer money as incentives to existing companies so that maybe we can attract Google or Dell. What we have to do is try to make it so that this state can start the next Google or the next Dell, because that's where actual jobs come from.
When we wake up May 5th and the second week of November, are we going to see surprises?
There are going to be. This is like when there's this many people in the primary. I hate to make a sports analogy. We're like 3 minutes in, and I haven't made a sports analogy. But this is like the NCAA tournament. There's going to be some number 1 and number 2 seeds that are going to go down. So you can't say which one. But what you can say is when there's this many contested primaries, when it's being split this many ways, and when there's that much earnest sense of participation at the grassroots level, there's going to be some people who are going to go down. There's going to be some surprises, absolutely.
In the tradition of interviewers that ask the day after an election what they're going to do you know what you're going to do in 2012 yet?
In 2012, I do intend to seek the nomination of my party for governor.
Okay. We'll follow it. Thank you so much for stopping by.
It's great to be on the show.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break, but there is still more to come here on Political Connections. After the short break, we'll talk in studio with the Libertarian candidate running for the U.S. Senate seat this fall. We'll be right back.